We're going to go ahead and hop in and talk about polynomials today. I'm going to go ahead and invert this so that way you can see on the whiteboard. So first thing we're going to talk about is degrees of polynomial. Remember, a degree of a polynomial is just the highest exponent. Also, as we're going through this video, feel free to pause it at any time if you need to. Just ask the person next to the computer to pause it politely, please. So if we have y to the fifth, that's a degree 5 because the highest exponent is 5. Okay. If we have 6x cubed plus 4x squared, that degree is 3 because the highest exponent is 3. Okay. We don't add these ones together because they have an adding sign between them. Okay. A 5, or a constant of any kind, is a degree 0 because there is no x value. Okay. So it's x to the 0. That's why there's no x. Okay. So that's why we know it's a degree 0. So go ahead, if you need a second to catch up writing that, go ahead and pause this video. We're going to go ahead and jump into adding and subtracting polynomials. Okay, so I have this polynomial here, 6w squared plus 4w minus 5, all minus 4w squared minus 2w minus 6. I'm only going to do a subtraction problem because if you can do a subtraction problem, you can do an addition problem. Okay, remember, if this is a minus here, we need to distribute that to every piece. Okay, so we're going to have 6w squared plus 4w minus 5 minus 4w squared. A negative times negative is positive 2w. A negative times negative is a positive 6. And then remember, we can only combine like terms. So w squareds go with w squareds. So 6w squared minus 4w squared is 2w squared. 4w plus 2w is 6w. And then we'll have negative 5 plus 6, which would be a positive 1. And remember, we want to write our answer in standard form. So our highest exponent should come first, which is why our w squareds come first, then our w's, then our 1's. It has nothing to do with our coefficients. So the 2, 6, and 1 are not going to be in the correct order every time. Okay, we go by exponents. Again, if you need to pause this video here to catch up, feel free to do so. We're going to go ahead and move on to multiplying. So we have 3x squared times 5x, that's supposed to be an x there, x squared plus 2x, or actually, I'm sorry, I want it to be a y squared, just to make it more interesting here. Okay, now we could do the box method, which I'll show you in a minute, but if you don't want to do the box method, you can just distribute the 3x squared into here, and then the 3x squared into the 2x. So 3x squared times 5y squared, well, 3 times 5 is 15. There's no other x's to combine with, so I'm just going to bring the x squared along for the ride. There's no other y's to combine with, so I'm just going to bring the y squared along for the ride. Okay. And then we're going to do 3x squared times 2x. Well, 3 times 2 is 6, and x squared times x is x cubed. There's an invisible 1 here. Remember, there's not really a standard form when there's 2 variables, so typically we might write the 6x cubed in front. You can just look at the exam and see which way they have it written when you get there. Okay? You could also do box method on this one if you wanted to, if that helps you stay organized. So this would be a 1 by 2 box in this case. Let me draw that a little bit bigger here. Terrible drawer today. Okay, and then I would have my 3x squared on the outside, and then my 5y squared and 2x on the outsides here. And again, if I were to multiply those, I'd get 15x squared, y squared, 6x cubed. So I get the same answer either way. Just know that if it is a 1 by 2 or a 1 by whatever, you can still use the box method as we're going to use in this next example here. Again, feel free to pause if you need to. We're going to go ahead and move on to this one. So you could use distribution or FOIL method. You could do the first, the outside, the inside, and the last to multiply. But most of you preferred the box method when we were doing this. So this would be a 2 by 2 box. And I know that because there is 1, 2 terms here and 1, 2 terms here. Okay. Remember, terms are separated by pluses and minuses. So I'm going to put 3h minus 7 here and 3h plus 5 here. Remember, we want to make sure we're taking the signs in front of the numbers, particularly if they are negatives, so that way we do not get an incorrect answer later. Okay? And then we'll multiply across our rows. So 3h times 3h is 9h squared, because 3 times 3 is 9, and h times h is h squared. 3h times 5 is 15h. 3h times negative 7 is negative 21h. And negative 7 minus 5 is negative 35. Okay. Remember, our diagonals tend to have some sort of like terms here, which we do have h's. So I'm going to bring the 9h squared down. Remember, in standard form, we want our highest exponent first, so that's why I put my h squareds first. 15h minus 21h is negative 6h. And then we'll bring the minus 35 along for the ride. Okay. So please make sure when you multiply h times h, it does give you an h squared. That's where we saw a lot of issues when we took this test. Okay. And remember to combine like terms properly and taking your signs with you. Okay. Go ahead and pause this video if you need to. Moving on to this one, I will see a lot of students be like, oh, Miss Oz, I just distribute this square and life is good. We cannot distribute that square because there's a minus sign. When we talked about our exponent rules, we could do that because it was all multiplication or division. Okay, so 4x minus 3 squared really means 4x minus 3 times 4x minus 3. And then I know I need to do my Bax method because I'm multiplying two expressions. So we'll have 4x minus 3, 4x minus 3. Okay. So 4x times 4x is 16x squared because 4 times 4 is 16 and x times x is x squared. Negative 3 times 4x is negative 12x, which we will get the same right down all over here because it's the same numbers. And negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. Again, notice we can combine x's together. And remember, x's do not go with x squareds. Those are different parts of our polynomial. Negative 12 plus negative 12 is negative 24x. Plus 9 is going to come along for the ride. Okay? And that would be our final answer to our polynomial. Continuing on, just as a refresher, we can have a box method that is more than 2 by 2. So this would be a 2 by 3 because it's 2 terms by 3 terms. Now we could draw it like this or like this. It really doesn't matter. I like to draw it this way. Okay. And we'll have an x and a 3, an x squared, and a 2x and a 5. And we'll multiply. X times x squared is x cubed. X times 2x is 2x squared. Remember there's a 1 in front of the x, so 1 times 2 is 2, and then we have a 1 plus a 1, which is getting us the x squared part. Okay. X times 5 is just 5x. 3 times x squared is 3x squared. 3 times 2x is 6x, and 3 times 5 is 15. Remember, our diagonals tend to tell us some like terms, so we're going to have x cubed to start with because that's our highest exponent. 3x squared plus 2x squared is plus 5x squared. 6x plus 5x is 11x plus 15. Okay, and again, that answer is in standard form. Okay, so go ahead and try those on your review. I will post these notes for you if you need help with anything. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.